This is Good Enough for God, a podcast about God and how he partners with imperfect people, how he works alongside us in our lives. I'm Dayna, and I'm so glad you're here. It's been a few weeks since my last episode, so I'm really excited, happy to be back down in my basement with a guest, Jay Setchell. Welcome, Jay.
Glad to be here, Dana.
Yeah, you have an amazing story to share with us, but first tell me, where are you? Because you are not here in my basement.
Yeah. I'm in Central Texas. I'm located kind of on a diagonal line halfway between San Antonio and Austin, about
Okay.
45 miles to one or the other. I'm out in what they call the hill country.
Are you a Texas native?
No, I was born and raised on a big working farm in north central Illinois, just south of the Wisconsin line, about 50 miles, and I, I've been all over.
Have you ever been to Cincinnati, Ohio? That's where I am.
I have been through Cincinnati, and it's a
Mhm.
hilly country, and I know when there's blizzards, the highways are really bad, so
Yeah, thankfully, we don't get many blizzards. So is that what you think of when you think of Cincinnati, snow?
yes, ma'am,
Oh,
exactly.
you're so far off. We just don't get that much. I mean, we did this past winter, but,
Oh,
um
we don't get it, but with this last past one, yeah,
yeah,
this was about 1978,
8? Yes.
no, somewhere in that area.
And we did have a blizzard, and everybody missed school for, like, a week. It was awesome. So, Jay, you are a husband, a dad. Are you a grandpa?
Many times over.
Okay. A U.S. Marine, a business entrepreneur, a corporate problem solver, a near death survivor. Not everybody can say that. And you faced lifelong physical challenges. And you're the author of a super encouraging book that's titled The Strength Within You. It's Always Too Soon to Quit. Have I forgotten anything?
Probably, but we can leave it.
Okay. Okay. So let's start off. What led you to write your book?
Uh, Dana, I'd had people tell me I should write a book for 50 years because of what I'd been through, and had I written it even 30 years ago, I would have missed a lot, and I would have missed the direction of where the book went and what the meaning is behind it, and I would have missed a lot of problems that I had to go through and more, near-death opportunities and all that. But I had a gentleman here a couple of years ago that, did a podcast, for LinkedIn for their company, and he just said, "Jay, you've gotta write it. You have to write a book." And it took a long time, Dana. It took a lot because I had to I dictated it because 'cause I'm mostly paralyzed, so it's like, and I had a lady write it. He set me up with a lady to do the typing and set it up, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Um, but it's just what I've been through and the way I look at things. I mean, he was just completely in awe, and he said, "You have a story that is, you've gotta tell the world."
Can you share some of your story?
Wow. I
Well,
got
in a nutshell, I mean, we don't have all day.
I it would take more than a day to share 76 and a half
Yeah.
years, you know? But, I mean, just, I guess some of it goes from what he was more interested in is the fact that I don't look at me as woe is me and things are tough
Mm,
and I can't overcome and this and that. I keep moving forward,
yeah.
period.
Mhm.
And it's, I mean, I should have I've been dead 3 times. They got me back, um,
Mm,
and I was gone, and then I've had 4 other times I should have or came very, very, very close where, here 5 years ago, they told my wife to go home and make funeral arrangements, and
jeez.
after 5 more months in the 4 different hospitals, I had to recoup, and I never got over that one. So it's just like,
Mm,
2 years ago on the way to Florida, I was involved in an accident going eastbound out of Texas and went across 2 lanes of interstate to the left and then hit this median in the center and 5 lanes across 5 lanes of traffic and down in the ditch, totaled the van. I had my wheelchair van, and,
mhm.
when they got me out, I felt it was happening very quick and very noisy and very violent, but I felt like I was a toothpick stuck up in a marshmallow, and God had his hand around me. That's what I felt like.
Wow.
I felt like I was just he would just say, "I've got you." I and that was it. And I came out of it pretty much. I mean, I other than a cut in my leg, I had nothing, and the
Um,
EMS guys said they've never seen anything as bad as it was where people lived. And they told me my blood pressure I remember my blood pressure was 114 over 72, and they said, "You don't seem to be real anxious or scared or whatever," and I told the guy, I said, "Sir, you don't have a clue what I've been through in my life. This is nothing. I'm good."
Gosh.
Well, it's just
Yeah, I mean, that was what, your 3rd near-death experience?
that was my 4th.
Oh my gosh, okay.
First time I really died was in the Marine Corps in
Mm,
1969.
okay.
And I mean, it was bad. It was bad, and I died. I mean, I was the physically damaged the worst when they pulled me out, but I went through that when the doctors had me in and they were walking away and they found that this other doctor came in and he cut a tracheotomy, and the blood just blew out of me. It just blew out. Well, what happened, I'd had so many broken ribs and my lungs were punctured in so many places that the pressure had built up so much from my lungs that it made my heart not able to beat. So I had no blood pressure. I had no heartbeat. When they let the pressure go, the heart started beating again, I guess, but up against the ceiling, looking down, screaming, everything was red, very violent, very, very violent. I wanted to kill them because they were leaving me, and I was screaming, I'm alive," and at any rate, had that not happened, I wouldn't have made it, and then I was in a coma a month. I spent a year in the hospital,
Mm,
so
jeez.
and then 3 3 years later, I had a drunk hit me almost head on, and he got thrown out of his truck, no seatbelt, run over by his own vehicle and killed, and anyhow, I bled out of that one. Again, it wasn't good. I was going up and I could hear voices and they were welcoming. I was very and what's odd is that neither of those did I feel any pain. And after all that, 8 years later, on the 4th of July, 1981, I was 31 and a half, and I jumped in a swimming pool after playing volleyball in the 4th of July parade and all that, and I broke my neck in 4 places
Oh
and drowned
gosh.
and was paralyzed from the shoulders down. They got me out after about 8 minutes, and my mom kind of informed me about 4 months after the accident, and she just said, "Jay, you gotta remember, you made the decision to jump in the pool. You got your boots off and got your billfold out, and you just jumped in, feet first. But you made the choice to jump in. It was God that helped pull you out."
Oh, yeah, so God
And
didn't cause you to have these.
I never looked at it that way. I
Yeah,
but I and in that the comments, Dana, came to me from from a statement that I had made to her, and she'd said, "You doing okay? Everything all right?" And I said, "Yeah, Ma, I'm just trying to figure out why me. I don't mean why me badly. I meant why me." And she gave me a
sure.
book. It was written, "Why Bad Things Happen to Good People." And written by Rabbi Cushman, and I read the book, very not a very big book, and read it quick, but, Dana, they talk about a thing where there's a little baby on a table or a little, um, curtain climber, like 11, 10,
Mhm.
11 months crawling around a little bit,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's near a window, let's say 6, 7 stories up in an apartment building, and, the baby gets too close to the window and falls out the window and lands on the pavement and is dead,
yeah,
and so the question is, why didn't God put his hand out and save that baby because the baby didn't do anything wrong. Well, in the book, it explains that God, in his wisdom, years, many, many eons ago, came up with a thing called gravity. And so the baby got too close and fell out the window and went to the ground because of gravity. So it lays back on the mother, and the mother didn't have a protective screen on the window
yeah,
or had a child on the table or wasn't paying attention.
yeah.
So it's not God's fault. It's, we do stupid things. We're human.
Yeah, so we have to take responsibility for our
Yes.
own actions or
Um,
our lack of action
yes.
sometimes.
Yes.
But God can take these things like, why me is kind of it is a legitimate question because I think God has made a lot of good out of the things that have happened to you, the things that you've learned, that you've been able to share. Like, there's purpose.
a lot of purpose. It's like my mom told me years before when I was hurting pretty bad, she said, "I wish I could take your pain." And I think probably not all mothers, but most mothers feel that about their child or their whatever. I made the comment, it was a pastor that I was having this conversation with, and I said, "It's kinda like, did God pick me out to allow me to make the errors or the mistakes or the choices I've done to have what's happened to me because he's never gonna give you any more than what you can carry." And he knows that some people just fight harder. They go more. They don't give up. They're gonna
Yeah.
persevere.
Mhm.
And, did he has he laid upon me some damages that could have been given to somebody else or somebody else could have had, but they couldn't have gotten through it like I did. In other words, it's kinda like taking your pain. It's like instead of you having a broken neck and being paralyzed and fighting it, it happened to me.
So you are paralyzed right now?
I'm mostly paralyzed. My left arm works pretty good. My left hand works. Uh,
Okay.
my wrist is fused. But the only 2 body parts I have that are like my right wrist and my left elbow that haven't been broken, rotted, pinned, fused,
Oh
replaced,
gosh.
or something. Nothing. But from the waist down, I'm gone. Actually, from the middle of my chest. So it's like,
Okay.
yeah, I can move my left leg a little bit, but
Mm,
it's so little it has no bearing. I can't walk. I mean, and then the 73 surgeries.
okay, so tell me, like, what kinds of things are you doing in your life right now that someone in a similar physical condition may believe is just too hard to do?
Oh gosh, I do everything. I mean,
Okay.
I don't there's not much anything I don't do from wash the toilet, I wash dishes. I'm an investor and co-owner, partner/partner on a company that's now national. We just went international. I'm very active in that. I do the podcasts, obviously. I'm getting going on another book. I've got people that I work with. I mentor. It's just being involved with people in the military as much as I can
Okay.
because being an old Marine, I've been through a lot. And so I don't know. I look at every day as there's more and more and more to do. I don't know. I mean, I can't die because I've got too much to do.
It's no time. There's no time to die.
Well, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't consider it working, Dana. I have never had a job.
Okay.
I've never had a job.
Doesn't
I
feel like
feel
a job.
it doesn't. I've enjoyed everything I do because I
Mhm.
do it for other people. And the more people you help, the better person you become. And I think the better person you become, the more people you help. It's just a kind of like, if it is to be, it is up to me.
Mhm.
Like there's certain things in life you have to do. And I'm only here by God's grace. So I may as well accept that
Yeah.
and and move forward accordingly. And that's really where I come from. It's like, yeah, there's not enough time in the day, and I mean, I'm up every morning by 5:36 AM, and I mean, I I drag my legs out of bed, I get them on a scooter, I get out, I'm in a lot of pain,
Uh,
but yeah, I watch people that are in their 30s and 40s, and they don't do anything, and I'm like, "Wow, god dang." But I still enjoy being active. I really think that the more active you are how many times have you seen a teacher that they teach till they're 65 and they retire and they're dead within 3 years?
yeah, and it's because there's no purpose anymore, I think. So, do you talk about that in your book a lot about having purpose?
I guess you could say it's a purpose. Where I came up with the title, actually, my wife kinda came up with the title. It started out with the strength inside me, the
Mhm.
strength within you. Well, it's not about me, it's about you. And that's what I wanted to get across. And so I changed it to the strength within you, and it's not inside you because inside you, you've got stomach parts and a heart and your head and your brain and your muscles and so on. But within you, and I researched it too, and within you is all encompassing. It's things that you've learned throughout your life. It's things you've
Mhm.
learned from your children. It's things you've learned because of your kids. It's learned
Sure.
it's all this. So the strength within you, it's always too soon to quit. Yes, it talks about my medical problems or what I went through, but it more importantly, it talks about how I overcame them, what I did to do that, my mental state during it, having fun with it, being fun, laughing at certain things. If you can't laugh at your disabilities,
Mhm.
then you got a problem with your life.
Do you think you could have gotten through these things without your relationship with the Lord? I mean, is he the real source of your strength, do you think, deep down inside?
I can't speak to that in my early life because my early life, they say your formative years are between, when you're born and
Mhm.
about 17, and so I was raised with a sense of urgency on a farm. We fed a lot of cattle, a lot of hogs. We had airplanes, we did crop spraying, we were very busy. Then I went right into the Marine Corps, and I had perfect attendance in Sunday school. We went to church often. Um, we did a lot of things as a family, picnicked and stuff. So I had a good belief and a good faith, and my parents were very strong. My mother held the Bible study at our house my whole life that I could recall, and my grandmother was very, very much a believer, so I saw the power and the strength of what God can do. I think that I was a stubborn kid that I got a strong head, and
Sure.
I pushed through a lot. Now I was grateful
Mhm.
God was with me, and I could tell that he was, but I didn't rely upon a lot of that. I don't think. Until I broke my neck, and after I broke my neck, my world changed, and I know that God's there. I know the power of prayer. The power of prayer lifted me up. The power of prayer carried me through, and if it hadn't have been for the power of prayer and the Lord, I wouldn't be here today, period.
So, if you encounter somebody who feels like they don't have a purpose, or maybe they're walking in a victimhood mentality, how do you help them find their purpose?
I Fair question.
Mm.
Uh I don't run into that many people, but I know I run into enough people that they're not going anywhere. So I
Mm.
guess that kind of puts them into the classification you're asking me about. And I try to do what I did when I was going through Sister Kenny Institute when I had my neck broken. I was going to rehab. Hey, what's going on, Dana? How's it going? Oh, you just kind of hanging in there. Oh, really? What do you want to do? What would you really if you could do anything in the world you want, what would it be? Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'd like to be, the captain of a multi-million dollar yacht. Okay, alright, well okay. Now, Dana, we know that that's probably not gonna happen, but what would you like to do that would be more realistic that we could work on and help you with and give you some direction in that would you like to run a fishing charter service over
Yeah.
here in Galveston? Okay,
I'd like to be an NFL quarterback. Can you help me?
I can probably not help you. But I can help you, they had a women's team out that they may be looking for a quarterback that you run around in short shorts and halter tops, it's like
I don't
there's
wanna do that. No,
okay,
that would
well,
not be good.
okay,
No.
then we need to make a different choice in your career, okay?
Okay.
But what I would simply say is find something you like to do.
Yeah,
Something you feel good at, because when you do something you like to do, it's not like a job. It's something you
exactly.
enjoy.
Yes.
And if you can find something that you like to do that helps other people,
Mhm.
now your purpose multiplies. It goes exponential, and then encourage those people to help other people. So
Yeah.
it's really reach into what their thought pattern is and ask them and say, "Hey, have you ever had this opportunity?" Or "What would you do?" Or "Hey, I've got a gentleman over here that needs somebody that can do this, and that's kind of what you're interested in. If I speak to him, if I can get you something to, a job or some direction too, but I'd like to connect you with him because he kind of is where you're at now, but he's really gone a long way. So just don't give up. Just don't give up. Keep reaching out. Keep trying. Keep working. Keep going.
Yeah, and you're a great example of that. My gosh. I mean, there's people dealing with far, far less who are having a hard time,
Oh, yes, ma'am.
you know?
You're right. I mean, I know people in their 30s and 40s or 50s, and they're going like, "Well, I'm pretty well done with life. I'm gotten old enough that," and they don't have any dreams. And I think that I can say it this way too. I think what gives me more of a drive and gives some people more of a drive is just God's will, number one. But I think that I've mentioned it. My wife doesn't like me saying it, but I don't think people, as a rule, not everybody, but
Mhm.
people as a rule, understand the value of time, the value of life, and what they can offer to the world and what the world can offer to them until they've either been dead and brought back or had a near death experience. Because when you've lost everything, I'm talking your life's
Yeah.
that's everything. Once you've lost that, but you've come back or you've gotten to some point that you're so terrified that you're gonna die, it changes you. And when you've made that change, you now make different decisions upon what choices you make.
Okay, so you were talking about time and life?
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, do you feel like people waste their time or they're wasting their lives because they're not using their time?
I'll share with you how I just presented this to a senior class. It was partly ROTC students. Uh, the colonel wanted me to talk about persistence and determination. And so I talked to him about that and we went through things. And towards the end, I said, and you got to realize you got to keep going. You got to keep moving because time is going faster than you think it does. And I'm going to give you a good example because I'm going to ask for a show of hands in just a minute. Okay. How many of you remember being in eighth grade? You're in eighth grade. You're going to be a freshman.
Mhm.
How long was it gonna take to be a graduating senior and have
Mhm.
to maybe have a car, maybe, have a job, maybe, you've got all this opportunity lying right around the corner. You're gonna graduate as a senior. Okay. Did it seem like it was 100 years away? It seemed like a long time, didn't it? And they
Yeah.
said, "By a show of hands," and everyone raised their hands out of 100 and what, almost 80 kids.
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, now conversely, how many of you you're all gonna be graduating in 5 weeks. Now look back, and how long ago was it that you were in 8th grade and just graduated 8th grade?
Yeah, a
It
couple days
like
ago.
like like a couple days ago, right? And I said, "By a show of hands," and they all raised their hand. And I
Yeah.
said, "Okay, I want you to use that as a bearing on time because I'm gonna make a statement here that probably is gonna make you kinda worry about it, and it should." But the next 20 years is gonna go by just as fast as the last 4 did.
Oh, yeah.
Before you know it, you're gonna be 40,
Yes.
and you're gonna look back and go, "Oh my god, there was a gray-haired old man in a wheelchair talking to me and telling me how fast time was gonna go, and I didn't really believe him." And so that's the importance of time.
Yeah.
I mean, how
It's a good
long
point.
was it that you were 20 years younger and you would now you can look at yourself, but, and then say 20 years from now, it's gonna go quicker.
Yeah, when we had our girls, I mean, my girls are 19 and 20 now, and everybody said, "It's gonna go quick, it's gonna go quick." I'm like, it did, it went really quick.
There's days, though, that it feels like it will never there's minutes that would feel it will never go by because they're causing so much trouble
Oh, yeah, like right now, they're both home from college. Yeah, my house is a mess. Dishes do not go in the dishwasher when they're here. So,
I
like,
don't
"Is it
yeah,
time for you guys to go back?"
yep. Doesn't school start again tomorrow, or next
Yeah, you were talking about 8th graders and thinking about when you're gonna graduate high school. I totally remember this when I was in 1st grade. My dad said to me, "Dana, only 11 more years till you graduate." And I remember thinking, "That is never gonna happen. That is never."
Yeah,
Know why he
yeah.
said that. That's so funny.
You never even thought a week would end.
Well, yeah, back then.
Yeah,
I have one more question for you.
sure.
And we touched on victimhood a little bit. Do you think that's a big problem right now in society?
I think it's a problem in society because nobody wants to accept responsibility. Nobody wants to take action. Nobody understands that if it is to be, it is up to me.
Do you talk about that in your book?
The point of the book, Dana, was really to show people that within them, they've got the grit and they've got the determination, they've got perseverance, they've got courage. You've got it because you've been through things that help you grow. And whether that's your DNA, whether that's the way you were raised, whether that was your parents, whether it's your neighbors, a teacher, somebody at Sunday school, whether it's aggravation, irritation, frustration, whether it's pain. Pain to me is a motivator, and pain will motivate you to get up and do something. But how do you take those and reach back into how does Dana reach back in and find that strength within her to get her through the problems that she's gonna face and
Mhm.
the detours and the adversities in life? And, it's like, to me, I've said for a long time, somebody that falls down and gets back up is stronger than a person that's never fallen. And I have fallen 1,000 times, literally, you know?
Mhm.
And
You really have.
I have,
Yeah.
and it's an issue that you've got to get back up and you have to keep moving forward, and it's always too soon to quit.
Yeah, and I don't know how people can do it without God, to be honest, when things really get bad. I often question that.
I don't think many people are really, quote, "victims." I think that they just didn't get to what they wanted because they didn't do anything about it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Well,
right?
God's given us all the ability to do things. It's in our heart and our ability. We just need to remember who's really in charge.
That's a good way to put it, and I think that's a good place to wrap it up. So, Jay, where can we find your book?
Well, I know it's on Amazon, it's on Barnes& and Noble, and I know it's in some stores now, but it's doing pretty good, and it's number 1 in 2 different classifications on Amazon, and
Whoa.
it's number 1 in, people looking for inspiration through physical disabilities.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also, number 1 in late teens through mid-30s for motivation and inspiration.
Wow. Well, I
Yeah,
feel honored that I have you on here.
it was pretty cool, and then if I may, I got an email here I'd like to share. It
Sure.
was about 3 and a half, 4 weeks ago, and I got an email, in my well, how they can get a hold of me is, it's
Yes.
my website. uh, I was trying to find a website, this is kinda funny, that would reflect where I'm coming from, where is my heart at,
Mhm.
how do I look at my life? And out of the blue, I typed in "never quit trying," and it was available.
.com.
So, .com, I just put .com, got it, went to GoDaddy, and bingo, I had that. So, Jay at neverquittrying.com, or there's a reference sheet in there you can go to and fill it out, and it comes to me. But I got an email from a woman, and she says, "Dear Mr. Setchell," she says, "I got a book from my son that got it from his son," so it was her grandson, and he says, "Mom, I want you to read this." And she said, "I read it, and then I had to read it again." And she said, "When I read it again, I circled stuff, I highlighted words, I underlined areas, and read those multiple times. And the reasoning I'm telling you this is I'm 88 years old, 88 and a half years old, actually. I lost my husband about 5 years ago, and I've had no real reason to want to live to be 90. I was ready to pack it in. I was ready to quit. I why? I mean, I've done what I needed. My husband's gone. My kids are blah, blah, blah. And and she said, "But now I want you to know that you've inspired me with what you've been through, and you don't see any end to it. You want to live to be 100. So I'm making plans now for my 95th birthday."
Oh,
Now, that it touched my heart because it's like, here's somebody that, well, just
yeah.
didn't care. And now they're planning for something 6.5 years away.
Yeah, that kinda story is, like, makes everything worth it, you
Well,
know?
it does,
And
and so and the thing is, Dana, the times I should have died, to the surgeries, to the companies I've started, the people I've helped, the things I've done here, the people that have helped me, everything, it just culminates into, the desire to continue to move forward and not stop and
Oh,
just
yeah.
keep helping and trying to do something. Maybe what you're doing isn't exactly right or the best, but you're trying. Never quit trying. It's always too soon to quit trying. At the beginning of my book, I put a thing in that it's attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson. This quote, he said, "What lies behind us and what lies ahead of us are very small matters compared to what lies within us."
Mm,
And when you really think about that, it
yeah.
gets back to the basis of my book, and that's why I put it in. It's like finding things that you've been through, what's behind you, what you've already taken through. And now you've got strength within you to move forward to the things that are in front of you because you've
Yeah.
already been through a lot. So the more bumps you go over and the more detours you take, you become a stronger person. You just don't quit and you learn from it.
Yeah, it's making me think of scripture, and I can't remember where it is exactly, but it's basically like how it produces character and endurance when you go through these things. It makes you into who you are. Like,
It's like Matthew 7:7 about, knock, seek, and ask. Uh, and one that I've carried since I was in the Marine Corps, of course, was, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I shall fear no evil," etc. And that's why I'm not worried about it. It's either I just don't worry about it. He's got me, and he's proven that multiple times. So you got to believe it.
yeah, okay, I did find the scripture. I just want to share it.
Go for
Uh,
it.
Romans 5 3 through 5. Actually, I'm going to share Romans 5 1 through 5. It says, "Therefore, since we have been justified through faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have gained access by faith and into this grace in which we stand. And we rejoice in the hope of the glory of God." Not only that, but we also rejoice in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. And hope does not disappoint us because God has poured out his love into our hearts through the Holy Spirit, whom he has given us.
Well, there you go. Well, it kinda sounds like my story in a way.
Yeah, it does. That sums you up, Jay.
Mm.
Well, is there anything else you want to share?
No, I think that you just use the word hope, and I think that hope is a good thing, but I believe that faith and believing are stronger than hope. Faith and belief is in your heart. I couldn't take it out of you with anything.
All right. Well, thank you, Jay. Thank you so much. I love the stuff that you shared.
Well, thank you very much, Dana.
Remember, you can find out more about Jay at his website at neverquittrying.com. And be sure to check out his book, The Strength Within You, It's Always Too Soon to Quit. So that's all that I have for today. If you enjoy the podcast, please share it with a friend right from your phone. You can text it or email it, even right now, or share it on your social media. Podcast updates happen on Instagram and Facebook. Just search Good Enough for God. So until next time, remember that God is good and you are good enough for God.